Research and Development of Dr. MGR Educational Research Institute. And the second session is on Recipe for Success by Lakshmi Subramanian from Global Adjustments. To give a short introduction of the first speaker, we have Dr. Rama Vaidyanathan, who is the Director R&D of Dr. MGR Educational Research Institute. She has completed her BSc Botany in Sri Venkateswara College, New Delhi, and completed Masters from Madurai Kamaraj University. She has completed her research. She has been the research scholar in SPIC Science Foundation, Chennai, and as a postdoctoral fellow in University of California, San Diego. She is the former head of the Department of Biotechnology from Dr. MGR Educational Research Institute. Her area of specialization is microbiology, bioinformatics, and entrepreneurship. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you for, we are very glad to have you here with us today. Can you share your screen? We'll start the presentation.
Thank you, Bhuvana, for the introduction. And yeah, very, very good afternoon to all the students present here. I know it must be really tough. You all have just had one full day of classes and you're back listening to somebody talk. I really appreciate your enthusiasm, sincerity in being here. So I hope you will find this training session interesting. Yeah, so just to share with you a little bit of details on the registrations. Yeah, so yeah, out of the 383 students who registered for the NewgGen IEDC, about 67 of you have been attending the workshops, the training workshop, and I would really like to appreciate those of you who are here. Huge shout out and claps to all of you who are present today. And a special mention to physiotherapy department. They are the ones who are maximum in number here. So good effort by physiotherapy department. Yeah, I'm going to start sharing my screen. Host has, yeah, the host has to allow me to share my screen. Host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Ma'am, I have enabled you.
You enabled me now? No, it still says host disabled.
Now you can check, ma'am.
Yeah. Oh yes, I got it now. Okay, only thing is you guys have to just put up with me because I'm a little slow with all these things. I'm not as smart as you people. I'm just going to open the PowerPoint presentation, keep it all ready in the slideshow mode. Yeah, and then let me get back to the screen, start sharing the screen, and yes. Are you all able to see my screen? Yes, can somebody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you're able to see? Okay, thanks, thank you. Okay, so I have about 45 minutes. It's just become 40 minutes. We've been chatting for 3:20 to 4. So yeah, so this is, this is pretty obvious. You all are here for the third call for student innovators. Those of you who have a project idea and want to become an entrepreneur, you can get funding up to 2.5 lakhs to create your prototype. So this project, this grant, is for students of Dr. MGR Educational Research Institute, any stream. And usually it's a group of students, 1 to 3, and the members can be across disciplines and across year. So if you get selected, what do you get? Of course, you get an opportunity to use funds to create prototype. The student group who finishes all the milestones will get 25,000 rupees. The mentor will also get 25,000 rupees. More important, you will get incubation and mentoring from the MGR NewgGen IEDC, and we have a structured training program to help you convert your idea into a prototype, a business plan, and getting a quick customer feedback. You also will get an opportunity to network with investors, innovators, participate in Smart India Hackathon, prototype exhibitions, and startup opportunities. So a lot of exciting things which happen for the students in the NewgGen IEDC. So what kind of projects will get funded? The sort of projects which will get funded, so these ideas have to meet 3 requirements. First, the idea should be a solution for a problem which exists, and the customers must find it a good solution. So it must be solving a problem which exists. So it should be desirable by the customer. Secondly, it should be a technically feasible. The student groups with a little bit of help should be able to create this. It cannot be something like, you want to have a satellite to solve a particular problem, because you know that you and I cannot have a satellite. It should be economically viable. That is, it should be a solution for which there are a lot of takers, and those who need this, the customers who find it desirable, should be able to afford it. So the intersection of desirability, feasibility, and viability, this is what becomes successful, and this is what we would like to fund. The ideas which students come up with will be screened by the NewgGen IEDC Advisory Board, which consists of members from the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and industry experts and few academic experts as well. And we are here to ensure that you people do very well in the pitch. So yeah, so I just want to share with you some terms which may be useful to you when you're present. Any technology, I just want to check, yeah, okay. So any technology that we have, they are, just want to know if you can see my screen clearly,
Yes,
even the top.
Yes, ma'am, we can see clearly.
Yeah, is it possible for me to remove all these things?
Just
I don't know.
a second.
Okay, let me just not touch anything. Okay. So there's something called technology readiness level. So that is a internationally acclaimed method to describe the different levels a particular prototype or an idea is in. So how do we start? We start with an idea, a concept. Nobody has proved it, but you have an idea. That is called TRL level 0. Then you do a little bit of literature review, survey, and you can describe it, but you still don't have an evidence that your solution is really good. That is called TRL 1. Then when you have formulated a concept and the application have something in mind, that is called TRL 2. And TRL 3, when you have an initial offering and you've identified who are the people, who are the stakeholders who will be interested in listening to it, you have an initial offering. That's a TRL 3. After, so this is all in the idea stage. You still don't have any product. Now, this is where NewgGen IEDC funding, etc. can come in useful. Your idea, if it is really good, you get funding to create a small, ugly prototype, a laboratory, something which will work in a laboratory environment. Then you need to test it in a large-scale prototype, in an intended environment. Then it has to be validated in the intended environment, then demonstration, then it goes into production. First of a kind, a few models are made, and then a full commercial application. So this is the journey or a path for the conversion of an idea into a fully commercial product a company is making. So as you can imagine, there are a lot of ideas in the stage, then slowly the funnel comes down and comes down further. If there are some 100 or 200 ideas, out of that maybe 2 or 3 ideas might go into full commercial application. But it is important to have so many ideas, and definitely there is a lot of learning that we do. You know, we cannot just start with one and take it to completion. We have to start with many and then take it to full commercial application. This is also called an innovation chain where we can convert science into wealth. The first 3 levels is knowledge development is usually done in the academic institutes. Then we need to collaborate with industry. This is a technology development stage, and then the business development. The funding from IEDC helps in transition from 3 to 4 in building the prototype. And we also, the IEDC will also help you in transition from 6 to 7. We can help you to get into an incubator, MENTEE startup, etc. And we have a few people in this stage also. This information is just to give you an idea of the whole innovation chain and the process. So what we are looking for in students is a spark, you know, a burst of students with energy and those who want to become really successful, achieve something in their life. So those are the students that we are looking for. The last 2 days, what have you been learning? So I know that Rizwan has had a session with you telling you what the NewgGen IEDC at MGR does and has given you a background of some of the projects. And then Dr. Arun Kumar has spoken to you about an entrepreneurial flow of identifying, asking yourself, what do you really want to do? Finding out your strengths and weaknesses and identifying your real ambition. He also spoke to you about choosing a problem worth solving. And then Bhuvneshwari spoke to you about validate and then ideate. So these are all very, very important learnings that you would have had. And today's session, there are 2 sessions. I will be talking to you on a process for innovation called design thinking, followed by that is Dr. Lakshmi Subramaniam, who will give you a recipe for success. So the importance of the talks, the previous talks about identifying a problem worth solving, validate and ideate. What both Bhuvneshwari and Dr. Arun were telling you is that when you start with a solution, it's like building a key when there is no door available. No, you don't want to create a key and then go searching for a door where you can fix it. Obviously, it is important, very important to pick a problem which is worth solving, which people are looking for a solution. So we will be talking and I'll give you an example of how this is done. This word called design thinking. So design thinking is a term that we use for a type of innovative thinking. It is not about how something looks. It's not about a design. It's about how it works. For example, let me show you some examples, but most of the time design thinking is used with reference to Apple's iPad, how it is so user friendly. So it is all done with the customer in mind, making things easy for them. So design thinking as a term, it's used to talk about a deeply human-centered approach, which is used by designers, which is solution-focused and action-oriented, which will take people from a plan about what is to what it can be. So how we can expand our mind to think innovatively. This is something I spoke to you earlier. Design thinking combines what people need, what is technologically feasible and possible and is viable, that is, it makes business sense. So this is what design thinking will help you identify. I will talk to you briefly about design thinking model using a Wadhwani Foundation method. There are 5 steps to this, and we will look at each of these steps and see how we can make this a type of something that we can do on a routine basis. So there are 5 steps. The first step is immerse. Second is empathize and express. Third is ideate, prototype, and validate. Let's understand what each of these mean. So the first step is something called immerse. So this design thinking was, okay, there is somebody who's speaking. Ganesh, Bhuvna or Rizwan, can you ensure that you unmute them? You know, I'm really happy that people are awake and talking, that I appreciate, but it will help if we mute them for clarity. Yeah. Yeah? Okay, immerse. The first step is immerse. So let's, I want to start with an experience. In 2007, in Stanford University, where they initially started this design thinking training workshops, the student groups were given some problem statements and they were asked to work on it and come up with ideas and all that. So just like every other student, a group of 4 students, Jane Chen, Rahul Panikar, Murthy and Liang, they were given the statement that 200 million premature babies are born worldwide and a lot of babies die, premature babies die. So that was a statement which was given to them. Now Jane Chen, out of this, she was so concerned about this one statement. You know, it kept haunting her and she wanted to find a solution. So instead of just, you know, learning these 5 words, okay, design thinking is a human-centered method, it consists of 5 steps, immerse, instead of mugging up like this, she said, let me follow this and actually live my life using these methods. So she saved money and went to Nepal, Kathmandu, and spent about a month in the neonatal ward to understand how many premature babies are there and what are the problems that they face. Why do they die? Why do so many premature babies die? So they were in the neonatal ward in Kathmandu, and Kathmandu has some very good hospitals and very good set of doctors. So it was not very clear why the statistics showed so many deaths. So then they decided, okay, let's go look around in rural areas. And what did they find when they went to the rural areas? So that after they immersed themselves in the problem, identified, they empathized, and that is they tried to understand what do doctors think, what do the patients, what do the mothers and the mother's family feel, they empathize with them. Then they found that majority of all the premature Nepalese infants were actually born in rural areas. The deaths were not happening in the hospital. The problem was that the distance between the rural areas and a hospital, it was taking so much of time, and the babies have to be kept warm in an incubator. The incubators were not available in the rural areas. So babies were dying simply because of a lack of a baby incubator. So they said, okay, so they started defining the problem. So what is needed is not a very complicated new type of baby incubator, but we need a baby incubator which will work without electricity because it must be useful in rural areas. It should be transportable. It should be intuitive. It should be sanitizable, culturally appropriate, and should be inexpensive. So after immersing themselves in that area where the problem was faced and empathizing with the stakeholders, they defined the problem. They said, in the rural areas, we need a good baby incubator. The next step was to ideate. Ideate, think of what and how should a baby warmer be. So maybe, initially they made some drawings. It was just a terry towel in which there was a separate warming device, a packet in which they were looking for some compound which would stay at 37 degrees for a longer time. So initially they found a non-toxic hydrocarbon called icosane. They did Google search, but it was very expensive. So they found another company called Pure Temp, which had a phase change material. So they made a terry towel based wrapper in which they placed this packet of icosane, which could be taken out and warmed and put in. And they needed to have an elastic belt. So they after ideation, choosing what it should contain, they created a digital prototype. Then they started working on the model, created this towel, sort of a bag for the baby. Then this is the sachet which has a phase change material which could be warm, and there should be some colored buttons so that you know whether it is hot or cold. So they created a prototype. The step 5 in design thinking is to validate. After you make a prototype, you need to take it back to the customers. So in this case, you can imagine the customers are different type of people. You need to convince not just the mother. You can't talk to the mother immediately. You might need to talk to the mother-in-law or the ASHA healthcare worker, Anganwadi school teacher, an NGO and other people to ask them to test this baby warmer and give them the comments, whether it really helps. So this idea, which was started in 2007, Jane Chen and others, they actually went and immersed themselves in Kathmandu. They did all of these steps and created a prototype, tested it. And after it tested and it was successful, the Embrace Baby Warmer is being acclaimed to be one of the best models for design thinking. Here a group of students thought together and they actually opened a company, and this company has been bought over by GE, and GE is producing these baby warmers, and there are a lot of people who are giving funds so that these baby warmers can be distributed to rural areas. And this is such a lovely product. People don't even need to know how to read read numbers, because there are color coding for temperature, and this is so beautifully designed. It also has an oximeter and other things which can be connected. So this is a very good example of design thinking to develop a new product. Now, can we make design thinking a way of life? Can all of us use design thinking? So what is most important about design thinking is when you want to create a new product, you don't fall in love with your product. You don't start with the product. You need, and then look for solutions for the product. You need to start with the problem. The problem is most important, and you need to immerse yourself and you need to empathize with the patients. And we've had a lot of success in last year's project when we did a course on a minimally viable product. Badri and a lot of other students, Bharat, and almost everybody, they actually went and spoke to the people who are supposedly facing the problem that they thought they were facing, and went and asked them to come up with new problem statements. For example, one of the members, Ms. Nirmala, was working on an AI algorithm for identifying fruit ripening. So when she went and spoke to people who were involved in logistics support, in plucking the fruits, transporting, selling, etc., she looked at the whole value chain. She found that One of the other problems which needed to be solved was to find out whether a fruit is artificially ripened or naturally ripened. And she also found a lot of other information on identifying fresh fruits, good fruits. So there's a lot of learning that you can get by actually going and immersing yourself in the problem and by empathizing with stakeholders. What do we mean by stakeholders? Stakeholders are all those people who are affected by the problem that you're looking at. So this is an example that we saw. Let's see how we can use design thinking to come up with innovative solutions for something which is around us. So here's an example that I have for you. This could happen to any one of us. So here is a statement. Mr. Rao is an old man who reaches home late in the evening after work, around 9 o'clock. So he's an old man. He stays in an apartment on the first floor. When he starts early in the morning, it is still dark and he still finds it difficult to go down the stairs to reach the gate. By the time he reaches home after his work, it's usually dark again, and climbing up to reach his apartment on the first floor is again a challenging task for him. Is there some way we can help Mr. Rao? Can we imagine a problem like this? I live in an apartment complex and I can imagine this problem for an old man who has to come back late in the evening. So if I have a problem statement like this and I want to use the design thinking model, what do I have to do? The first step is to immerse and empathize. So what we can do is to have a personal interview, talk to that person, create what we call an empathy map of the person who's facing the problem. What are the emotions that the user might be feeling? In this case, is Mr. Rao feeling tired, anxious? Is he happy? What is he feeling? What does he say and what does he do? And then, we always have people who are giving advice. So what do people tell him to do? And what does he see? So these are all things that you need to do. You need to talk to that person and create an empathy map and understand. Then what do? You list out whatever you observe. In this case, I'd say, okay, old man, the staircase is really steep. He lives on the first floor. If he was on the ground floor, the problem might not have been there. Staircases are so steep. He has difficulty in climbing. And there's just no way to see properly in the dark. There is no light. He has to be very careful. The old man feels very helpless because he is so afraid of injury. If he's injured, if he slips and falls, who will find him? Who will help him get better? They live in a remote village. There is poor infrastructure. Oh, the building was not well planned. You make all of these notes after you make an empathy map. Then with all of this, you need to identify what are the problems that you think are really true. So first thing you observe is that the old man has difficulty in walking. He has pain in the legs. There is no light. There is nobody to help. He is fearful, he is insecure, and he can't afford to install a lift or anything. So he doesn't have a lot of money. You write all of these challenges. Any one of these, if you can solve, it will be really good. But what are the things that you can solve out of this? You need to ideate and think of which of these challenges you would like to take up. And you can create what we call a point of view statement, a precise sentence that summarizes the problem that you want to solve. Remember, there are a lot of problems. You need to choose one problem that you can solve after ideating and thinking. So we can create a point of view statement like this for the old man. Start with, I am an old man. I am trying to reach home safely. I am struggling. I am unable to climb the stairs because of darkness and my fear of falling. I feel helpless and insecure. So the point of view precise sentence that we can make, and before that we have to say which is a problem out of this that you have selected and the reason why you have chosen. We say the problem is the lack of light in the passage as it does not let the old man reach his room safe. So all of these are problems, but the one that we are trying to solve is darkness. We think that if we can give light there, we might be able to solve this problem. So how might we solve the problem of lack of safety in climbing the stairs faced by the old man? Now that I have this statement, from this long paragraph that I have done analysis, I've done an empathy map, I've tried to understand what are the design challenges. There are a lot of things I can do, but what is practical, what is it that I can solve? I define it as how might we solve the problem of lack of safety in climbing the stairs faced by the old man. Remember, there can be multiple solutions. You can say, I will break down the building and create new staircases which are friendly to older people, but that's not practical. There could be other things that I could do as well. But this is something that I feel will solve most of the problems if I can put a light. So you need to think and find a solution which is simple and which you can do. Okay, so now how will you create a light in this place? So let's think of different ideas. First, simplest idea. If we can give him a matchbox and he just lights a matchbox. But let's try to give some numbering based on novelty, ease of use, ease of design, durability, and feasibility. Matchbox is good, but durability, he has to keep buying the matchbox, and what if there is a small fire? Not a great idea. Torchlight, good idea, but then he has to carry it with him. He has to change the batteries. Okay, why don't we tell him, boss, you come home early. Why do you have to go early in the morning and come late at night? But that may not be a good solution because he might lose his job. It may not happen. It may not be possible. What if we say, boss, buy a lift and install a lift in your house? But that's very durable, but you may not have the money and the building may not have the provision to make a lift. Okay, say, why don't you change your home? Why do you have to live in this apartment? Why can't you change to a home which is on the first floor, etc.? Not a practical solution. Okay, let's think, is there something we can do? What if we think of a two-way switch? We've seen two-way switches everywhere. Maybe that's a good idea. So this is an example I've given. You can develop more ideas. And out of these, you can pick up an idea which looks feasible and something which is doable. Okay, so let's say we've chosen this two-way switch. So we need to convince people that it's a good idea. So you have to make a sketch. So this is a diagram. I've drawn the staircase. This is the ground floor and the first floor. And how will a two-phase switch be? So this is here is the bulb. Where will you fix the bulb? And how will you connect it? Where is the current going to come from? Where is the supply? You need to look at all of that. Walk up and down the stairs to find out where these things are. Then you draw a sketch. After you draw this, you might have to have a detailed sketch of the prototype. How much wire do you need? And what type of wire, etc. You will need to draw this and make a list of materials required. What is the length of the wires that you need? What type of switchboard should you have? When you are doing this, do you want to have just one switch? Do you want to add something else? You need to do all of that and make a list of materials which are required. Okay, after this, you can ask your parents. In this case, it may not be very expensive. You might be able to get some money to fix this. So let us say you fix this in that house. That is not enough. We need to find out whether we need to validate after the prototype is built. We need to go back to the customer and find out that whether what we did was really good. Get a feedback. So we need to ask some testing questions. What do you like or dislike about this product? You say, oh, I really like it because it provides light. What do you think this product should do? It should work at all times. Even if there is no current, you should connect it to generator so that I can get the light. What could be done to make you want to use this product more? Yeah, can you make it automated? You know, when I'm coming back from work, I'm carrying my vegetables and bag, and as soon as I come there, can you make it a motion sensor activated switch? It's a good idea. What do you think I can do so that it looks much better? Yeah, the switch looks very boring. Can you make it more attractive? Is this product efficient, safe, and comfortable? If not, what can you do? Can you make it more beautiful? What do you see as some problems and what can be done to solve these problems? So you need to ask a lot of questions and don't expect all the answers to say, oh, excellent idea, what a lovely child. Instead, if they give you problems, you can solve them much better. So this is an example that I have given you to show how design thinking works. So just to summarize about design thinking. So design thinking is a human-centered method which focuses on the problem. You need to spend more time understanding the problem, learn from the audience. Don't just read up some Google, Wikipedia or some Google articles. If you're really serious, if you want to spend 6 months in solving the problem, you need to actually go and get primary information. You need to go and empathize with the stakeholders. You need to talk to different stakeholders, understand the problem. So learn about the audience from whom you're for whom you're designing. Then redefine and focus your question based on the insights from the empathy stage. After you empathize and immerse, you define the problem. Then you ideate. Then only you brainstorm and come up with creative solution. After you ideate, if you have 10 different solutions, choose 1 or 2 of them to make a prototype, a digital prototype where you can draw a sketch and get a response from people, from some of these stakeholders and your friends. Then you choose one to create a prototype. And now, creating a prototype is not the end. You need to create a prototype, go back to the stakeholders, you let them use it and they need to give you a feedback on how to improve it. Only after you get a validation from the customer is the product really good. And this is something which is very, very important. And a lot of products today which are built with the customer in mind. So now if you create even a simple product, for example, today you would have seen the Heinz tomato ketchup. The usual tomato ketchup, what happens is, we have to turn it, we have to open the cap and then keep pressing and wait for the tomato sauce to come out. Heinz has a upside down tomato ketchup bottle, which is a result of design thinking. How do people use a ketchup bottle? So these are things that you need to think about. And whenever you think about what a customer needs and try to understand what his real problem is, if you spend a lot of time in empathizing and defining the problem, then ideate and create a prototype and then go back to the customers and get their response. This is the path for success. So we need all of you to think on these lines. So this is the end of my presentation. And I think I think we are doing good on time. I have time for a few questions before we get on with the next speakers.
We have some time. If any queries, you can post it in the chat box.
Yeah. And Rizwan, are we also sharing our presentations?
If needed, we can share the presentation to the students.
Yeah, so if you people want, we can send you the PPT. Do you want the PPT? Okay, thank you. Okay, can any one of you tell me what are the 5 steps in design thinking? Okay, we will send it to you, but out of listening to this talk, can anybody tell me all the 5 steps? Yeah, nice. I can see Swati is, yeah, good. I'm getting it from different people. Oh, Ajit Kumar. Claps to Ajit Kumar. He has given all of the 5 steps. Immerse, empathize, express, ideate, prototype, and validate. Excellent. And so is Soumya Senthil Kumar and Nabina Vinu. Very nice. I'm so glad you were listening to me. Yeah, there was one question about the university closing down, not open due to COVID. Yeah, physically we are not open, but I think we are doing well interacting with you. And yeah, we will have a method by which we all can define our product. So what we are planning is that tomorrow there is a session where you will be taught how to make a pitch. So what we need from you is for you to make a group talk, choose any problem around you, use design thinking methods to come up with a creative solution. And we will teach you tomorrow how you can make a pitch. Normally for somebody to convince you to buy something, would you want them to talk to you for half an hour? No. In the first 3 minutes, you decide whether you want to buy something or not. So similarly for funding also, it is like that. So we will teach you tomorrow how you can very quickly convince the person in front of you that what you have is an excellent idea. And that is what people are looking for, and convince them to fund you. So we'll teach you about funding, pitching. There is also a very important talk on IPR tomorrow, which you can listen to. Yeah, very nice. I've got the answers on the 5 steps of design thinking. I really appreciate that. Any other questions from the audience, please do post it in the chat box. Okay, if not, yeah, Rizwan, you'll be sharing the feedback form with them.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
they also post their questions there?
Okay, we can have any questions if needed. We can include the feedback form.
Yeah. So how are we doing on time? Has
We are
Lakshmi
exactly.
ma'am joined us?
She has to unmute herself. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
She is ready now.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, students, for your patience in listening to me. And I'm really looking forward to listening to all of you on your ideas. And I'm sure all your ideas are going to be focused on solving problems around us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a great talk, and I'm sure that students had a lot of takeaways. So the next talk is by Lakshmi Subramanian from Global Adjustment Foundation. To give a short intro on her, she is a banker turned facilitator and life leadership coach. She is currently associated with Global Adjustment Foundation, where she is leading the champion women that works on reducing gender gap in the workspace. So thank you so much. Lakshmi ma'am, can you share your screen to start the presentation?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Rama, those 5 steps on designing was something I really looked forward to. So I joined a little earlier, and that was a great idea.
Thank you, Lakshmi.
Hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Friends, hi, I'm Lakshmi Subramanian. I represent Global Adjustments Foundation. And I know you've been having a lot of presentation for the past 2 days. I see most of the topics have been covered. Funds are not the only thing. Then problem solving. Then validate your ideas. Design thinking by Dr. Rama. And tomorrow you're going to have the perfect pitch, not of singing, but the pitch that you're going to present to your funder or customer or raw material seeker or whatever is your idea. And for all that, you know, to actually succeed, you need a perfect recipe. And I'm a great cook, and I want to share the recipe for success with you. So we'll start with a small game, and you can probably put it on the chat. So who do you think are there in the picture on your screens? Friends?
You can check the chat button because everyone is muted.
Yeah, that's okay, but
They're already posting.
oh, I'm not able to view the chat. Do you have to enable that for me?
It must be visible for you because you have to minimize the PowerPoint.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I got it. So it's Gandhi, Mother Teresa. Oh, is it Sachin? It's not Dhoni, is it? How sure are you? Oh, bat. So Dhoni doesn't carry a bat? Oh, Adidas bat. Okay, great. So how did you all find this? Because I have not given even a picture. I've not even given the face of the people. So how do you think, what made you identify these people? Yeah, they are famous, you're right. Appearance, okay. Outline, okay, Gandhi has a stick in his hand, true. Uniqueness, yes, that's what it is. They have a brand, you're right. Their uniqueness, yes. Role played by them. Great, lovely. Oh, this group is going to be very interesting, and this session I'm really already looking forward to it. Exactly, my friends. There is a uniqueness. So does that mean that all the uniqueness are only with the Gandhis and Mother Teresa and Abdul Kalam and the Dhonis and the Sachins? Is that true? Don't we have uniqueness? All of us have uniqueness. If you remember, when we were born, that thumb drawing is a unique one for each one of us. There is nobody who is going to have the fingerprint like you earlier than you or even later than you. There's not going to be a single person born after you who is going to have the same fingerprint. That unique you are. Yeah. So when you are thinking of doing something, when you are thinking of an action, of an intent, like Dr. Rama said, you have enormous ideas in your mind and you want to like really put it across, focus on the ideas and find out whether you can find a solution and all of that. Please believe in yourself. That is the foremost thing. You know, I want to really talk about this. I don't know how many of you know Bumblebee. If you know, you can put it on the chat. So what is a bumblebee? What does it do? You know, bumblebee is that bee from the bee family, which is so big. We've seen only bees of this size, right? But bumblebee is one like this big. The picture, you can see how big it is against the rose flower. And do you see the wings? Hardly half an inch of the wings, and that too very, very fragile wings. So all the scientists around the world decided that this particular species of the bee will not be able to fly. And they had huge, statistics to show that why bees fly is only because they have real strong wings, and all those scientific calculations and thought process and reasoning were given as to why a bumblebee cannot fly. But thankfully, you know what happened? The bumblebee cannot understand English, right? So it just flapped its wings so fastly, so quickly. It elevated its body and it's flying all over the world. And bumblebee is one reason why humans are thriving too. It's the bee family that helps humans thrive. Yeah. So you have to believe in yourself. The statement that I have put there, I can, is a very, very powerful statement. It has got the energy of yourself on that just two words, which is as good as a long sentence. I can. You know, human beings have always thrived on self-belief. What is the self-belief? That I can. Around you, there will be a lot of people telling you, இது உனக்கு சரிப்பட்டு வராது, நீ இதுக்கு லாயக்கு கிடையாது, you're not going to be able to fulfill this, you're not going to do this, you're not fit for this, what you're saying you will take up a business or run a show, how can you do it, you don't even have experience, you don't even have that education qualification, so on and blah 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 blah. You will hear that all the time around you. And trust me, all the big leaders, all the big scientists, all the innovators around the world have also heard such sentences, but they've all been like a bumblebee. They've just ignored what others have spoken. Just close the chatter. Don't even bother to listen to the chatter, but listen to that one statement that you can tell yourself, I can. You know, Thomas Alva Edison's example is the best example, I should say. He tried making or innovating light for humans, yeah? And when he was in the process of innovating the light, one fine morning, he realized that his lab was completely burnt out. There was a huge fire accident of a short circuit, and his lab was completely burnt out. His subordinates or his team, so to say, was so upset. And they said, what are we going to do? All our calculations have gone. All our previous experiments have, the observation notes have all been burnt out. Where do we start? Are we going to do all over that again? Oh my God, this is going to be so difficult, blah, 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 and blah. And Mr. Edison just said one sentence and he shut the entire gang out there. He said, thank God, you know, I can start to make fresh mistakes and I will never make the past mistakes because I already know they don't work. So I will come out with fresh experiments, fresh permutations and fresh combinations. And within 8 months is what he discovered, the light of all our lives. Humans have always thrived on self-belief, and self-belief is the only thing that can take you to your goal. So my topic, if you see, was success recipe. So when you're talking of a recipe, then obviously there are ingredients. Those ingredients are the topics that you have been always, you've already been listening in the last 2 days. Intent, intention to do something, intention to think of an idea, intention to take action on that idea. So that intent is the first ingredient to go forward on this journey. The next one is, if you have identified, like Dr. Rama was talking about, problems which can be solved and hence that can become your ideas. That is what Mr. Sundar Pichai always says. Look around you. Look at the problem that can be solved not just for a handful of people, but for a larger community. And Google exactly does that. You put in any question to Google, it can answer. You know, I saw a recent meme also, no? Whereas my mother stored all the snacks in the cupboard was a question to Google. Obviously, Google will not be able to answer that question. But then any problem that an individual might have, Google today says, come to me, I will have a response for that. So you will have to look around yourself for problems for which you can find solutions. Now, each problem can have multiple solutions if you put your brains to it. But we are not going to do things that are multiple ways to solve one problem. We can choose one solution which is easy, which is viable, that you can do and then solve the problem. So for that, you have to do a lot of research. What are all the solutions? What are all the cost affected to the solutions? Are these solutions, will it really help a larger community, or is it going to help only a particular section of the population, so on and so forth. And the very important point here is scalability. I can start a business today, I can start a unit, I can even start a YouTube channel as a business proposition. But is the idea, is the problem, is the solution, will I be able to scale it, make it bigger, make it huge, grow it over the years? Will I be able to grow it in a larger scale? So does the solution and the problem have the impetus to grow if I work hard on it, is another ingredient that you have to look at. And of course, sustainability. When we start something which is so close to our hearts, we want to leave it for a long period of time, right? Like a legacy. So on and so forth. So sustainability. Sustainability is where if your business can actually stand tall over the years, over generations if possible. So is the problem such a thing that will enable me to do a business for over a period of time? Can I sustain? Now, all of this are ingredients like the salt, the masala, the vegetable, water, gas, that kind of ingredients. So what has to come together? Simple, hard work, and no mediocre hard work, excellence in your hard work. Your intent may be great, but if you're not diving into that idea and taking action, that just stays as an idea, that bulb, that's all. That's not going to help you at all. So hard work and only hard work, and driving yourself towards excellence always. Now, what is excellence? Excellence is that particular parameter beyond which nobody else can do that job, and you're the best in that industry. That is excellence. So all these ingredients on one side, and your hard work and striving to be the excellent performer in your hard work, is what will make your idea into a business proposition. Now, I'm here to talk about one success mantra. There are various success mantras for an entrepreneur to be the successful entrepreneur that he or she wants. But I'm just going to introduce you to one very important topic of success mantra, which is mentoring. Now, what is mentoring? See, I have had a corporate experience for over 20 years. So I joined as a clerk in a bank. That's the first step that you can enter the bank, way back in 90. Don't tally my age, okay? That's not the question here. So when I started my career at the bottommost rank, I had a way of, I wanted to reach the top. I wanted to work hard. I wanted to break the glass ceiling and be on the boss's side. And I wasn't sure how to go about that. I know there are promotion exams. I know there are things that I have to achieve and all that. But above all of that, I have to develop myself. I have to grow as a person. So I very soon realized that I need a person to guide me through this process. So I chose a mentor. So mentoring is not something like your coach for a football, or your professors in the college, or your teachers in the school, or your parents. No. Mentor is that one person who is ready to give his or her time, his or her knowledge to help you achieve your goal. How cool is that? Somebody is ready to give their time, their knowledge, and their experience to help you achieve your goal. That is a mentor. So quickly we will see who the mentor is and who the mentee is. So mentee is obviously, it's going to be you. You're a person who has identified a specific professional goal, and you know that you need some kind of assistance. You don't know what kind of assistance. It can be funds, it can be preparing a speech, it can be preparing a presentation, it can be financial number crunching, it can be research, it can be marketing, it can be anything associated with your idea. The mentor is a friend or a person who will guide you because you're a less experienced person. Obviously, he has experience. Now, having said that, a mentor need not be from the same industry that you're choosing to be an entrepreneur. Suppose you're running a YouTube channel, he doesn't have to be on the YouTube channel business at all. He will be that person who has an experience of already run a business, who knows who his customers are, who knows how to get the funding, who knows how to channelize his energies, who knows how to reduce the cost, who knows how to find your customers, and who also knows how to do financial management of your business and scale it to the next level, how to diversify. So he already has an experience in the entrepreneur world. He already has an experience of ups and downs of his business. He must have learned multiple lessons from his experiences. And if he is willing to share that, then you walk on a path which is already laid, which may not be with roses, but definitely does not have thorns, and you can happily, successfully walk on that path. So if somebody is able to give you that time, that effort, and make you understand, it's like the picture that I have. He just sprinkles water on that plant, that idea of yours, to make you grow and stay focused. I really want to explain this relationship between the mentor and the mentee with an example. Ranjini Manian. Now, who is she? She is the founder, chairperson of Global Adjustments Foundation, in which I'm associated. Yeah, but she is also the founder of a monopoly business called Global Adjustments. Now, Ranjini Manian was like you and me, studied in an art college in Bombay and learned French as a language. And she knew she was very good in the language because she learned their culture also. So she was very strong in French. But the moment she finished her degree, she was married off to an industrialist in Chennai. She came to Chennai from Bombay, and the first thing she understood was her mother-in-law will not allow her to work. But she wanted to help people. She didn't know how, but she was very sure that she's not going to be the person sitting at home, but she wants to really help people. So slowly what she started doing is she started teaching French to her friends or children who are learning French. And slowly she built a goodwill among her friends that she knows culture of other continents. When she realized her goodwill is actually bringing her more friends, she started learning cultures of various nations. Of India primarily, she knows so much about our customs and traditions and history. She learned the European culture, she learned the Eastern culture, she learned the Western culture, and she's now an epitome of culture diversity and culture understanding. With this vast knowledge with her, one fine morning, she was asked to help her American friend who was shifting here to find a place to stay, find a school for the children, so on and so forth, in late 80s. So she went around that American friend and she found everything that he will want for himself and his family. And then she realized that is a business that she can help out. Yeah. How? Because India was opening their doors for foreign direct investments, and a lot of foreigners were willing to come and stay in India. And she made that as the business. So she knew there was a problem for the foreigners to come and find space here and then work. So she told the corporates that I will help the foreigner and his family to settle down here well. I will help the foreigner to understand the Indians with whom he will be working. I will train them on culture and intelligence. And that's how Global Adjustments was formed. Through this entire process, she had a mentor. Her mentor was Lakshmi Narayanan of Cognizant Technologies. And all she will go is, I have this idea. That's all she will say. I have offices now in 7 places. How do I scale it? Was the one question. So he told her, you write a book. You interview entrepreneurs from around India and you write a book. And that's where she wrote a book by name Doing Business in India for Dummies. Anybody could come to India and do business because she took interviews of such eminent personalities like Narayana Murthy across India, finding out how they struggled with their business. And she wrote that book. And that book that she wrote took her to so many places. She's a TEDx talker. She's traveled all over the Europe talking about her book. And that book took her to our Harvard's Women Leadership Board too. And all of this, how did it happen? Because she just went to her mentor with one question, very simple question. How do I scale it further? How do I make my business visible to people? And she, it's very easy to go and ask a question. கேள்வி கேட்டுறது ரொம்ப ஈஸி இல்லையா? நம்ம கிளாஸ்ல கேட்க மாட்டோம், அது வேற விஷயம். ஆனா கேள்வி கேட்கறது ரொம்ப ஈஸி, பதில் சொல்றதுதான் ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். So every time she will go meet her mentor, she will do a preparation of what she wants to ask. Avaroda time, he's a very big industrialist of cognizant technologies. He has multiple businesses. So Avaroda time is very important. You can't spend other people's time on some frivolous conversation. முடியாது. கரெக்டா ஒரு ஆஸ்க் இருக்கணும், ஒரு கேள்வி இருக்கணும், நல்ல யோசிச்சு ஒரு கேள்வி. அதுக்கு அவர் உங்களுக்கு ஐடியாஸ் கொடுப்பாரு. Or he may open doors for you. He may introduce you to his contacts. He may even connect you to a banker. But what is important, அவர் door open பண்றாரா இல்ல உங்களுக்கு contacts கொடுக்கறாங்களா, is he connecting to the bank? All of that he has done. Now it's your turn to perform. When the mentor is helping you with so many things, you have to show action. Oh, you introduced me to, in fact, Mr. Narayana Murthy was introduced by Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan, and she took that relationship very seriously and worked on it. So she went back to Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan and told him, you introduced me to Mr. Narayana Murthy, and I had a wonderful interview arranged when I was launching my book. And that really helped. So you have to go back to your mentor and tell him what you have done. It may be successful, it may not be successful, but the mentor should know about it. So that book that she wrote took her to Harvard Women's Leadership Board, and she learned a lot about women in business. Those 4 women who are standing there are all real top leaders of corporate in the world, and they are top 50 people in the Fortune 50 magazine. Yeah. So she was brushing shoulders with them. So she learned so many things. That's when she thought she has to come back to India and teach the girls and the women and the younger minds here of what she learned. That's where she launched Global Adjustment Foundation, which is nothing but an NGO which helps youngsters to ideate, youngsters to take career as an important part. And the tagline is, champion a woman, she will build a nation. Now with Ranjini's life, I only want to say that the mentor was a very important person in her journey of 25 years of running that company. She ran the company for 25 years. And at every point in time when she was stuck, there was a time when she had 7 offices opened in India. She had grown. So she opened 7 offices for all the customers all over the India, the BMW, the Ford, the Amazon, big companies who had businesses all over India. And she realized that she can't be traveling and managing all the 7 offices by herself, but she didn't know what to do. She didn't know whom to sort of trust and be able to do the business. She went back to the mentor immediately and asked him, what do I do? I'm not able to. I don't have the time to fly to and fro to these 7 offices and manage them. The daily operations are getting upset. So what do I do? So he opened doors again to to select a CEO for the company, and the business only doubled with that. So for every problem, if you could go with that one ask to your mentor can guide you to that. Even in this foundation, she has a mentor who guides her and the team, us, and we work with the idea that the mentor gives. So mentor in your career, be it a corporate career, be it an academic career, be it an entrepreneurship, be it anything, a mentor is very important. Now, what does the mentor do or not do? He will not give you advice. He will not say, do this, don't do that. Do this, don't do that. He will not say. Like, for example, in my case, I can share my example where when I finished about 12 years in the bank, I got a promotion opportunity, which will take me outside Chennai. I wasn't very sure about it because I had very small children and I wasn't sure if I can, completely shift out of Chennai. I was not at all sure about it. But that promotion was a big one and it obviously gave me that jump in my career, which I was looking for a long time. Since I had this doubt in my mind, I went up to my mentor and asked him, what do I do? I have this doubt. I know it is good, but something is telling me that this eventually may not be good. Can you guide me? So he immediately found out what the job was and what was the proposition of the job and all. And he came and told me, Lakshmi, you don't need this promotion right now. Because eventually, I'm not sure if that business will run very well. So why don't you stay put in Chennai and look for other opportunities? And I just took his advice because he's always helped me through in clearing my mind. So I just took his advice and it just happened the way that within a year, that the entire department was closed down and the people were asked to leave. So those small things when a mentor tells you, it enables you to sort of clarify your thoughts and you're able to be focused on the goal. So what will the mentor do? He will help you in setting the goal. He will not identify the goal for you. The goal is something that you need to identify, but he will help you set the goal. He will help you stay focused on your goal. As students, you will take the book and you will think, okay, now the time is 4:30 till 6:30 I will study. அப்படின்னு book எடுத்து உட்காருவோம். Then இத பக்கத்துல வச்சுட்டே உட்காருவோம். டிங் டிங் அப்படின்னு உடனே அதை பார்க்க ஆரம்பிச்சிருவோம். அவ்வளவுதான். நம்ம திருப்பி டைம் பார்க்கும்போது ஆல்ரெடி 6 o'clock ஆயிருக்கும். 1.5 hours gone on the phone. And oh my God, திருப்பி இன்னைக்கு போயிடுச்சு. சரி பரவாயில்ல, நாளைக்கு படிச்சுக்கலாம். This is what we do. But if you have a mentor, he will ensure that you keep this down and you are focused on your goal. You're focused on doing what you have to do. And he makes you accountable for your actions. Be it financial, be it relationships with your customers, be it relationship with the government authorities, be it anything to do with your business, he will make you accountable. Now, while the mentor is helping you, as a mentee, you also have certain responsibilities. You may go and use his time, 10 minutes or 15 minutes of his time once or twice a month, which is good. You have to be in constant conversation with him. With gadgets today, it's so easy to keep in touch with the mentor. But the ideas that he gives, it's your responsibility to definitely take action on that. Or at least tell him, no, I don't think this one relates to me. I don't think I have to do this, but instead, can I do this? This will be more helpful is what I think. That kind of arguments you can have with him because he's going to travel with you in your business and review with him. Okay, I did this phase, but looks like the other option will work. Can I work on that? And whatever be the outcome, go back to him. This is a famous line which Ranjini uses always. Be frugal in using other people's time. Frugal is kanjathanam pannunga. மத்தவங்க டைம் யூஸ் பண்ணும்போது கொஞ்சம் கஞ்சத்தனத்தோட சிக்கனமா யூஸ் பண்ணுங்க. But be liberal when you're giving feedback. நீங்க சொன்னதுனால தான் I left the promotion and thankfully My job is still there with me. I can look at other opportunities. And thankfully, the next promotion really took me to a larger role. It's only because of you that this happened. I am so blessed that you're the mentor for me, so on and so forth. So when you're using this time, use it very, very limitedly. But when you want to thank them, when you want to really give the feedback to them, be really generous and make him or her happy, because after all, they are traveling with you. So that is the relationship between a mentor and a mentee. You know, Dr. Rama was talking about your course the next tomorrow, right? Pitch Perfect. What a beautiful title. But think about a scenario, you know, just think about a scenario. You have an idea, you have a solution, you've done a simple market research and you understand that your solution is business worthy. And you want to go check with somebody as a second opinion to understand that what you're thinking is in the right line and what you're thinking is viable, doable. And you're going to a corporate office. I know today in COVID you can't go, but eventually if you're going to a corporate office and you're getting into the lift and you see somebody like say Girish Matrabhutam, you know, the head of Freshworks, he's traveling with you in the lift and both of you are going up to the 20th floor, which means you have 2 to 3 minutes with Girish Matrabhutam, the Girish Matrabhutam, with whom Google funded and his business is like now the top in that league. And he is in complete rapt attention for anything that you say because he is there and the next 3 minutes in the lift is something that he has nothing else to do. But you've got the 3 minutes for your life. You have to prepare a pitch that you can fit your introduction, your idea, your solution within just 3 minutes. Okay, I'll tell this, I'll tell this, I'll tell this, I'll tell this, I'll tell this. You can put it in your mind, but practice it. Have a timer and practice it and make sure that within the first 3 minutes, you're able to present a pitch to him that he will be very interested to listen to, and he'll give you an opportunity to come and meet him and talk about it. So your pitch has to be that way. That is the same pitch that you have to use if you're going to meet your mentor for the first time. The mentor should feel that his time will be worthy enough to spend it on you. After all, time is very precious, very limited resource. He has a business to run or he has a career to follow. He has other things to be done within the same 24 hours. And from that, he's going to take the time and give it to you. So it has to be really worthy. So be frugal in using their time, but be liberal in telling them what you have done. So I really want to close up my session with this, like a summary, you know. Make the intent very clear. I have this idea, like she was saying about that lift, two-way switch for the lift. Make it clear. So when you are going to present your idea, for everything, preparation is the key. It's very important that you prepare for what you're going to talk about. In fact, even in life, you know, if you're going to present, if you're going to ask something to your father or you're going to take a permission from your parents, it's better to be prepared. Prepare in your mind what you're going to say. Suppose you want to sort of invest in a laptop because online education is becoming so much important for you, in a fancy laptop which will help you with a lot of other things. You have to make a case of it because it's financially draining for a family, particularly right now. So make a case out of it. How is it going to be useful? Why the current phone alone is not enough, but you will need a laptop? And why that laptop, and how will it help you to improve on your studies? So you make a case out of it and you anticipate the questions that they may ask. Why should I buy a new one? Can't you get a second hand? Can't you see on eBay and find a second hand machine? Why should I get you that 45,000 worth laptop? Why a 30,000 laptop will not be worth? Will be those questions that any parent will want to ask. So think of those questions, prepare answers. It's very important. If you want something, you have to be prepared to face any questions that comes from the other party. So make your intent very clear and execute the action with absolute dedication to what you're doing. பண்றத திருத்தமா செய்யணும். என்ன process இருக்குதோ அதை கண்டிப்பா follow பண்ணணும். You have to follow the process and you have to do it. அதுல வந்து okay பரவாயில்ல இது ஒண்ணு விட்டுறலாம் அப்படின்ல cut corners பண்ணக்கூடாது. When you cut corners on something you are doing, like we'll do that இல்ல 5 mark questions இந்த chaptersல தான் வரும், அந்த chapters வராது, பரவாயில்ல I won't study that, I will study that only for 2 months. இந்த விளையாட்டு விளையாடுவோம்ல நம்ம, that will not work in a business model. You have to dedicate hard work to it and name the issue. Identify what is the problem that you are going to work on. What is the problem that is going to give that idea for the business? Name it very clearly, crisply, write it out so many times, edit it and make it a beautiful sentence of what the problem is and how it can be transformed to a solution that you have in your mind. And always have enabling a process to be improved. Even in design, she was saying, right? So improve your process so that what was sold yesterday is never sold today. There is an updated, new and improved. Totally new, fresh and new. Or coffee la kuda new and improved varudhu. Coffee is ultimately coffee from a coffee bean. Avlavudhan. But there is so many things to it. It's granulated, it is powder, it is instant, it is filter, so many things into it. So your product or your solution should also have ways of scope for improvement so that you're able to improve the experience for the customer. Ultimate customer is kept in mind and you're improving. And the last E is you should always have the energy to make your business larger for a longer period of time. Scalability and sustainability, so that you can leave a legacy in this world. Yeah. So mentoring will help you in all of this. The mentor will help you in identifying whether your intention is correct, identifying the problem, is the solution the correct one, and will help you with ideas of how you can improve. And keep a mentor. It's always important to keep a mentor. Yeah. I wish to finish my presentation with this beautiful video, which I request you to watch and understand why I'm showing this video here.
नहीं होगा यार।
सर आपके लिए उस पार कार का इंतजाम किया है सर। सर आइए सर। ये चल चल।
Hope the sound is clear.
इधर जाओ बोला क्या बात करता है, क्या ऊपर से जाएगा, क्या ऊपर से जा जा।
I hate this country. कुछ करो ना।
अब मैं वहां जाके क्या उखाड़ लूंगा।
कैसी जाने बूंदे आई, जाने कैसा दर्द लाई, सामने क्या है ये तेरे, क्यों रुका है तू बता रे हो। तुझको पार लेगा, कौन होगा वो मसीहा, मुझसे तू ढूंढता है, वो ही है तू वही है। तुझ तेरा रास्ता है, तुझ में तेरा है सहारा, तू ही तुझको पार लेगा, तू ही है तेरा किनारा। तेरा रास्ता है, तुझ में तेरा है सहारा, तू ही तुझको पार लेगा, तू ही है तेरा किनारा। जिसे ढूंढता है तू ही रहे, तू ही रहे, तू ही रहे तेरा मसीहा हो।
So be the leader. Think of an idea and have a complete belief on yourself that you can achieve. Be the job provider rather than the job seeker. If you have an idea and if you believe that you can achieve it, I promise the entire universe will work with you, like how everybody worked with that small boy, to make your idea a grand success. Thank you so much for the time. Do be in touch with us. The Champion Woman YouTube channel, we have a lot of these tidbits from Ranjini Manian of her experience as an entrepreneur. So she shares this 2-3 minutes videos with which she shares every time a lesson that she learned in her life. So be in touch with us. And thank you for this opportunity, Dr. Rama.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really an informative session. The last video was really inspiring.
Yeah,
I really loved it.
Thank
So
you.
let me ask the audience if they have any questions from you. Yeah. Anybody? Any questions? You can post it in the chat box. Ma'am will be very happy to answer your questions.
Okay, so excellent talk, Lakshmi. We really enjoyed listening to you, and yeah, I'm sure now students will have an idea what to look for in a mentor. So a mentor is different from a boss, you can see.
Yeah.
So that is something that students need to understand, and yeah. So looking forward to seeing all of you tomorrow, students. What time are we starting, Bhuvna?
From 3:15 tomorrow, same timing, ma'am. So tomorrow we have 2 sessions, one by Dr. Hepzibah Sharmil on Pitch Perfect, and the second one by Balaji sir on pre-prior art. It is on intellectual property rights and the first initial search for art. Okay, so so looking forward to see all the participants, and kindly ask the other friends of yours who have registered to come and attend, to have to get to know how to pitch perfect when you are going to present it to us or to anybody later. So thank you so
I
much.
just want to say one thing. That's one point which is very important to note, because I understand some 250 odd people had the intent of attending these programs, but it's this 70 or 80 people who have actually taken action on that intent, and they are here for the past 3 days, which is way, way good. And you have to really pat yourself for that, because that is where things start working for yourself. Thank you so much for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So we come to the end of this session. We again thank Ms. Lakshmi Subramanian and Dr. Rama Vaidyanathan for giving a wonderful session. So thank you so much. We will catch you up tomorrow at the same time at 3:15. Anybody, any query, you can post it in the group. We'll be very glad to answer all your questions. Thank you so much.